es esto aquí? Es un pinche ovni, hermano. Es un ovni. Un marciano. Sí, es el hermano de nosotros todos. Mi prima. ¿Qué es eso ahí?
No, hay que dejarlo en el museo.
¿En el museo?
No,
Creo que vino de Guatemala. ¿Vino de Guatemala? Sí. Oh, Honduras. Yeah. You're a beautiful lady. Do you know what this is? Cover his face up. It's, I don't know what that is. I mean, it might hypnotize you from just looking at it. I got this on Facebook Live though, Chubbs. Make sure you call the higher ups, Dylan.
So this is possibly some of the best orb footage that I've ever seen. This was sent to me by a viewer, one of you guys. I appreciate that. And it's very interesting what we're about to see. Now, I want you to pay attention to the sounds, to the animals in the background. I'll let the video play and I'll come back later.
There's a smaller one right under it.
Look at that, baby.
Oops. It seems like all fish.
Holy shit. Look.
Yeah, I'm seeing the exact same thing as you.
There's 3 of them now.
No, that's fine.
The other one down behind the trees, but there's 3. There it is. I got all 3 for a second.
I just saw one glimpse over farther.
So I wasn't going to entertain this video, but there's some background info that I want to give you guys that I think is very interesting. This was taken in April of 2025 around the whole drone UAP or phenomenon that's happening till this day still in the East Coast, and the animal noises in the background. Now, I asked the individual, I asked viewers who send me videos what they believe it is. And nowadays you have to listen to everybody. He talked about the Croatan and the Makawa people, basically like lore of the area of how indigenous people back then believed in the star people. Apparently a meteor crashed in that area and formed a lake. I'm not going to get too much into it, but they've been seeing orbs in this area for centuries. It's pretty interesting. And they even compare and contrast sometimes about like actual aircraft in the air. And to be honest, it's not helicopters. It's not aircraft. There's even up to 6 of these up there at one point. And I'm pretty sure they would have heard that much aerial power in that area because they're not that far. But again, this is amazing footage. It could be helicopters. But again, they see them frequently and they're maneuvering in a way like that's just, I don't think helicopters could operate. Especially 6 at a time that close. I just don't know. But I'm going to play the rest of the videos. You guys can make up your mind to what you think it is.
But then going too fast to be helicopters.
Holy shit, come look at this.
What do you say?
What the fuck?
It's glitching.
What the fuck?
Fuck type of...
Look, there's an island.
That is way too high.
Whoa,
no.
whoa.
Oh god.
What the fuck was that?
It just got super bright and dissipated really quickly.
And now it's red.
And green too, and white. I can see in this when I zoom in all the way.
You saw how bright that got though, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Why does everything look like it's moving?
Hey, fuck that. If they come here, I'm
Now
deflecting.
it's going fast.
I'm
It's
deflecting
going
to
in
their
the same
side.
direction as the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
You see how I say it sounds like...
I've been trying to get y'all's attention about this for months.
No, I've been seeing that one. I know about the light that always comes back, but just I've never caught it on camera doing stuff like this.
Yeah, I've never caught it doing this either.
You see how that red one just looks like it's going like this?
Uh-huh. That's what I've been telling you guys.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Look at this. Hey, baby. Look at my phone. That is clear as day, each section lighting up.
Yeah.
Myself and at that time Burroughs, we were at a fairly good distance, maybe 30 feet away from it, and we had taken a defensive position on that on the ground.
I mean, it was threatening to me, but it wasn't the type that you were going to shoot on it. And also the fact was that what would happen if I would have shot at him? What good would it have done?
And then it started moving back in between the trees with absolutely no sound, no air disturbance at all.
Whatever it was went up and shot back up out over the trees, just like he was there and was gone.
Takeoff, unknown speed, and I write, impossible.
Details of this sighting were first made public when this Air Force memo was obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. It states, "The object was described as being triangular in shape, approximately 2 to 3 meters across the base and approximately 2 meters high. It had a red light on top and a bank of blue lights underneath. As the patrolman approached the object, it maneuvered through the trees and disappeared." This Air Force memo was written by Deputy Base Commander Charles Halt. General Gordon Williams, who was commander of the base at the time, denies either seeing or authorizing the release of this memo. In a tape recording presented to General Williams, Airman Burroughs questions how a story of this magnitude could escape his oversight.
How did Colonel Halt's memo go up without you knowing about it and reviewing it and allowing it to happen? Anything that left that base that significant to a foreign government would have to be cleared by you.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I didn't. Let me ask that last part about that memo.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. That went under the door and I didn't see it. Now, did he have a motivation in doing that? Did he think that if he brought it into me, I would have stepped on it? I certainly would have looked at it very carefully because it had some things in there that I don't think we were prepared to defend.
Lieutenant Colonel Halt was most likely motivated to write this memo because he too was a witness to a second occurrence, as he himself states at the bottom of the document. Numerous individuals, including the undersigned, witnessed the activities. Signed, Charles I. Halt, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Air Force. He captured the encounter on his pocket tape recorder.
Well, we've got an object about 10 degrees directly south, 10 degrees off the horizon. And the ones to the north are moving, one's moving away from us. It's moving out fast. There's one on the right heading away too. Yeah, we're both heading north.
I believe that he went out there to debunk the whole situation, and I think he got in the middle of a situation he couldn't explain either.
Okay, here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now.
He came toward us, it stopped overhead, and sent down a beam. Well, the beam wasn't like an ordinary beam of light that radiates out. It was a focus beam like a laser beam that illuminated the ground, a small circle probably 2 foot or so in diameter.
Now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal.
When I gave the tape that I made to my superior, he took and played it to 3rd Air Force, to the commander and the staff, and they all scratched their head, and the answer finally was, it's a British affair, leave it to them, give it back to them. Hence, I wrote the memo that has become public.
I think that the halt was definitely wrong in doing that. Once that cat was out of the bag, you know, I couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and it lived its own life.
In May of 2023, something extremely strange happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. And even if you don't believe aliens crashed in someone's backyard, there's actual evidence that something happened that night. It started when a Las Vegas police officer's body camera captured a bright object streaking across the night sky. Around the same time, reports of a strange fireball were coming in multiple locations, and the American Meteor Society received sightings from several states. But then things got much stranger. A Las Vegas family called 911 claiming that something had crashed or landed near their home. They told the dispatcher that they had seen 2 enormous beings in their backyard, describing them as around 8 to 10 feet tall, with large eyes, and insisting that they were not human. And police actually responded. Body camera footage released publicly showing officers arriving at the home and speaking with the family. One of the officers even mentioned that his partner had seen something falling from the sky, which spooked both the officers, which makes the situation even more interesting. The officers then walked towards the backyard with the family. Unfortunately, some of the most important moments aren't clearly visible. Part of the footage was blacked out because the camera entered an area called LVMPD, considered private property. So we never get a clear police body camera shot of the 8-foot creature standing there. And most of the footage was redacted for other reasons, which raises eyebrows. But think about what we do have. We have footage of something traveling across the sky the same night. We have police officers acknowledging that something was seen falling from the sky. And we have a documented 911 call from a family claiming enormous non-human beings were in the backyard. And if we have body camera footage proving police actually responded and investigated the report, that's enough to get some people's eyebrows raised as well. Then after this story exploded across the internet and became national news, it seemingly disappeared. The family largely vanished from the public spotlight, the police moved on, and eventually everyone stopped talking about it. Very similar to the Miami Mall incident. Does that prove aliens landed in Las Vegas? No, but it also wasn't simply an internet story somebody made up. Something crossed the sky that night, police responded, a family appeared genuinely frightened, and reported seeing something they couldn't explain. So what actually happened in that backyard? A meteor, terrified family, or mass misunderstanding? Or did something fall from the sky that night, and whatever came out was never supposed to be public knowledge?
But just occasionally there is physical evidence to back up reports of close encounters. On the morning of November the 9th, 1979, forestry worker Bob Taylor walked down this woodland track outside Livingston New Town near Edinburgh. He rounded a corner and was astonished to be confronted by an unearthly object.
It was a huge thing with a big round dome, a very dark grey colour, and had a big flange going all the way around. I could see arms sticking out of this flange with what I took to be blades on the top.
Later, he described what he'd seen to a local newspaper artist who drew this sketch.
As I stood here, there was 2 balls came out, 2 balls. I'd think they'd be about 3 feet in diameter with about 6 spikes. And they were rolling on these spikes. And they came right up beside me. And I remember feeling a tug at that time. A very powerful smell, a choking sort of smell. And that was it.
He crawled up this path and staggered home, to be met on the doorstep by his bewildered wife.
It looked terrible when he came in the door, and he just stood at the door, and I said, "Have you had an accident with your lorry?" And he said, "No, I've been attacked." And I said, "What with?" And he said, "A spaceship." And I said, "Oh, goodness me, there's no such a thing as a spaceship. I'm going to phone the doctor. You must have fell and hurt your head." He looked quite shocked, and he was drained. He was right white, and his face was dirty, and he had a red scar here. And his clothes were all dirty, and his trousers. And then he told me his trousers had been torn.
Police station Bargate. The police were called, and they discovered inexplicable track marks at the scene of the incident.
On examining the area, I found 2 track marks in approximately 40 holes in the ground. And these are the track marks here, and these are the 40 holes. Since then, I've photographed the holes. This is a photograph of the hole here. This is the holes that measured approximately 3.5 inches. And this other photograph here, you can actually see the tread marks which correspond to the marks here. These markings and tracks were actually inside this area here that's fenced off, and there was definitely no other tracks leading to or from this area.
These are the trousers worn by Mr. Taylor. As you can see, they're of fairly heavy material. We have a tear on the left, just below the pocket, and one on the right trouser leg, again just below the pocket. These marks are consistent with the material having been pulled up while the trousers were being worn.
Well, I'm pretty certain that day that I saw a spaceship sitting here.
We must accept the story of Mr. Taylor. He is a very highly respected member of the community, a man of high integrity, and not one likely to invent such a story.
Okay, so this video was kept hidden, and I mean, this is actually unbelievable. I mean, look at the size of that craft.
It's the summer of 1965. In the small farming village of Valensole, tucked into the lavender country of southeastern France, a 41-year-old farmer named Maurice Massé tends his land much like his father did before him. He is known throughout the region as a straightforward, no-nonsense man, respected by his neighbors, trusted by local authorities. Not someone given to fantasy, but something has been bothering him. In the final days of June, Massé notices that small portions of his lavender plants have been disturbed. The damage is minor but persistent, irritating enough that he decides to investigate. He begins rising early, watching, waiting. On the morning of July 1st, 1965, at approximately 5:45 a.m., Maurice Massé stands beside his tractor near the edge of his lavender field. The air is still. The rows stretch endlessly in soft purple lines beneath the rising sun. And then, a sound. It was a sharp, whistling noise cutting through the silence. Massey steps forward, expecting perhaps an aircraft. What he sees instead stops him cold. Roughly 90 feet away, resting on the ground, is an object. It was egg-shaped and smooth. It stands slightly elevated above the earth, supported by a central structure and landing supports pressed into the soil beneath it. And beside it, there were two figures that were small and humanoid, less than 4 feet tall. They appeared to be crouched near the plants, moving deliberately as if examining or interacting with the lavender. Massey's first instinct was anger. He begins walking toward them. As he gets closer, within roughly 15 feet, he sees them clearly. They had large heads, pale skin, and unusual eyes. He said at first they looked like babies. The beings make low, indistinct sounds to one another. Then, one of them turns, raises a small object, points it directly at him, and in that instant, Massey cannot move. His body locks in place completely. He remains conscious and aware, standing upright in his own field, unable to act. He would later report that in those moments some form of communication was had, though he never really explained what it was. The beings moved quickly. They returned into their craft, and he could see some form of controls inside of the spaceship. Then the hatch closed, it rose swiftly about 1 meter, and then quickly vanished. And it took him about 15 minutes to actually regain control of his own body. Shaken, Massey hesitates to speak. He confides first in a small circle, only family and a friend. Word spreads due to his friend's indiscretion. Within a day, local authorities are alerted. The French gendarmerie arrives and an investigation begins. At the site, they find physical traces, impressions in the ground consistent with where the object had rested, disturbances in the soil. Something had been there. Massey later reports unusual fatigue in the days following the encounter, periods of deep exhaustion that he could not explain. The case draws attention. Scientists, investigators, among them Jacques Vallée, a respected researcher who would later become one of the most influential figures in UFO studies. After speaking with Massey, Vallée and others come to a quiet conclusion. The man is sincere, but perhaps not telling everything. Massey himself remains reserved and careful, at times even reluctant to elaborate. According to later accounts, he came to view the experience in deeply personal, maybe even spiritual terms. And of the beings themselves, he offers only a simple reflection. They did not harm him.
And it wasn't an orb anymore. It was a tic-tac. And that's what got the U.S. government involved with me from that point forward.
Explain what that is for people who don't know.
Well, you know, David Fravor, the pilot, was reported off the coast of North Carolina. The Navy was tracking these tic-tacs. They looked like a football or an egg sideways, or a tic-tac, a pill kind of. And what the crazy thing was, I knew I'm a builder, right, designer. I'm good at looking at things and figuring the length of it. I count squares on the floors and walls, and so I knew that thing was 45 foot long because the tail of it was in the ditch on one side of the road and on the ditch on the nose. So I knew, and that was the key when I reported this thing was glowing white, and it was like a pill, and it was, or a football, and it was that length. The CIA, the guy that wrote the foreword in my book, he's the director of operations. He said he saw that report the day I made it, and he said, bingo, there's where the Tic Tac has taken someone. They'd been checking that thing forever, but it come in and took me in broad daylight. And they were just checking it 60 miles away from where I was sitting, right? That's how close the coast was. And that started the whole thing with NASA and all.
At the time, what was your understanding? Did you grow up thinking that there are aliens? What are you thinking at that time?
Well, remember, I was a builder, building 100 homes a year, and had for 20 years, and had an empire, 400 employees, 4 children at home, and not one bit of thought about aliens or any of that. It was about raising babies and building 2 houses a week, complete. Think about that. I was completing 2 houses every week or
You're
more.
a busy guy.
Yeah, so I think about stuff like that. And when it all unfolded, and me, a commercial pilot, I did a lot of flying too. And so I'd never seen it from an airplane. Never seen it until then. Except one other time, I wasn't sure what I was looking at, but this time I was. And it cured me from Crohn's. I had Crohn's disease, and it took it completely away that night from me, healed me, and there's no trace of it.
Well, you never know what you might see at LaGuardia Airport, and that apparently goes for the airspace over LaGuardia as well. Last week, a passenger named Michelle Reyes joined me exclusively on the show to share a clip of video that she took from her window seat on approach to LaGuardia back in March. It's some kind of flying cylinder. Some have called it a tic-tac, but it zipped past her window almost too fast to see with the naked eye. But experts who had looked at her footage determined this was not faked. And Michelle told us she was not the only person on board who saw this thing.
First happened to me, I was not into science fiction.
Years, 3 decades since the silence of the Pacific Northwest forest was shattered by a story that refused to die.
What happened to the alien?
It could actually be real, legit.
This is legit alien footage.
A story of a man, a discovery, and a truth that lay beyond the stars.
Would you play the sound for us once again, please? Yes, I will.
This is the case of Dr. Jonathan Reed.
This is what so many people try to say doesn't exist.
He found something not of this earth, an extraterrestrial being, and with it, a technology that defied human understanding.
I didn't believe in any of this at all, but yet I couldn't deny what was happening to me.
So I ended up just opening the thermal blanket and wrapping the body up into it. I'll show you the videotape. I said the body's in the garage. But again, the proof was in the freezer. The entity that I call Freddy is in constant communication with me. It has to do with things that are happening now and that are going to be happening soon.
skin reflecting a faint sheen as if lightly moist. The torso is narrow with subtle vertebrae visible along the spine, while the elongated skull lacks hair or external ears. The descent itself is almost careful, each step transferring weight smoothly from heel to forefoot. Movements like that are difficult to simulate because balance must remain consistent across the entire body. That detail led some viewers to notice something unusual. Ancient Sumerian cylinder seals occasionally depict sky beings descending from ladder-like structures attached to flying objects. No one can say whether the resemblance means anything, but it leaves a strange image behind, a visitor stepping calmly from the sky, as if this arrival had happened many times before. What if extraterrestrials don't just arrive on Earth, but occasionally have to repair their vehicles here? A trail camera hidden in the Black Hills forest captured something unusual during a foggy morning in 2024. The device had been placed to track deer, yet the footage shows a metallic disc resting among wet leaves, while two extraterrestrials stand beside it. Their anatomy appears delicate yet structured. Pale gray skin reflects faint moisture in the fog, revealing narrow torsos where rib outlines are visible beneath the surface. The arms extend lower than human proportions and end in long, thin fingers. One extraterrestrial places both palms gently against the craft's surface. The movement is slow and precise, almost like someone listening through metal rather than pushing against it. The skull curves backward smoothly, while the dark eye cavities remain fixed on the hull. A biologist who later examined still frames pointed out something subtle. The tension around the shoulder blades looked organic, not mechanical. That observation led to a curious possibility. The camera might have recorded extraterrestrials repairing their own craft in the middle of a forest. If that idea sounds unlikely, the next video suggests humans may already be interacting with them directly.
This next one is almost impossible to believe, but people are calling it so convincing it feels overwhelming. A person filming from inside their car captured what appears to be a TR-3B, insanely close to the ground.
That's not... Nobody was gonna believe me. That's what I can't believe. Look at this thing. See?
This footage was shared in February 2026. The witness filmed the entire encounter from the safety of their vehicle, capturing just how close the triangular craft was to the surface, and describing an extremely deep, bass-heavy humming sound emanating from it. After a moment, they zoomed out, which somehow made the sighting even more convincing. That said, this footage could also be completely fabricated CGI, carefully crafted to appear genuine. Even if it is real, it's hard to wrap your head around something like that appearing so low. Personally, I'm skeptical.
On the morning of April 6, 1966, students at a Melbourne school noticed something strange in the sky. More than 100 witnesses later reported seeing one or more metallic, disc-like objects above Westall. Students and teachers poured outside to watch. Some followed the object toward an area known as the Grange, where witnesses said it descended behind the trees. Several later reported strange circular marks in the grass. What happened next only deepened the mystery. Students were called to an assembly and told not to discuss what they had seen. Over the years, weather balloons, military aircraft and secret research projects have all been suggested as explanations. None has conclusively solved the case. 60 years later, witnesses are still asking the same question. What did they see over Westall?
You were just a kid, but you actually said you felt something in your body as well when that big bright light appeared overhead.
Oh yeah, actually I was 9 years old too.
Oh, sorry. I think
no.
I said you were 6.
That's the press. But yeah, we felt like we were deep underwater.
Yeah.
There was a tapping sound like stones hitting the car, even though we were parked. There were 3 objects too. There weren't just one. There were 2 spheres. One was off to the left of the car. It looked like a ball of light, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
probably 3 times the size of a vehicle. Very crisp. It rose from the banks of the Housatonic River, and as it got to be about 3 stories high, there were actually rods of light that shot out from the sides of it, not the bottom, that went into the water. That retracted. It remained. There was another one off to the right. It was an orange ball. It kind of had a turning type of orange wave to the inside of it. That remained over the water. We drove forward, and when we got about 20 or 30 yards down the road, it was when my mother first noticed the object over what's now a cornfield, and it had to be about 100 yards in size. It was metallic, if you will, or looked metal. That's what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of had a very plain look to it, almost like a turtle shell, if you will. And there's a large centerpiece to it, and it put out a sheen or a light out the front. If you, I don't know if it was really the front, but the front of our car, the way we were going, that top right part of it put out a sheen. And so with that sheen, it was kind of in.
Invited me in the craft. And they didn't tell me right away where we were going, but I found myself in outer space with a Polaroid camera, and there were about 8 or 9 people in there with me, aliens, and another, a man, a friend of mine from Hybers, New Jersey, who at this I still don't mention his name because he doesn't want to mention it, but he was in the craft with me. Went to school with him. We were up, we could see through the portholes the Earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It looked like a blue tennis ball with white clouds over it. Finally, we could see the moon approaching and getting larger and larger through the portholes, and I took pictures of the moon on the other side of the moon, where there's a line between the light and the dark, and there was like a small city there. And our government knows all of this. They know it all, but they're keeping it from the public.
This video is absolutely incredible. Watch it multiple times, however many times you need to. Slow it down, pause it. And I have to tell you, I don't think this is AI. The footage comes from a couple of friends who were investigating initially what appeared to be lights in the sky, landed in a little desert area. So they went to investigate. And what they found, at first, they believed to be a gray alien. But as they were getting close to potentially grab it, something stands up, something taller. And this is where I don't believe this is AI. This may be some of the best footage ever captured of potential alien contact. Take a look at this, comment below, tell me what you think.
No hagan ruido, no hagan ruido, no hagan ruido. ¿Escuchas cómo le hace? No hagan ruido, no hagan ruido. Escucha. No hagan ruido, no hagan ruido. ¡Ey, morro! Es uno de esos macetones. Es un macetón. Es un macetón. Hay que agarrarlo, güey. Es uno chiquito, güey. Es uno chiquito. Míralo. Miren, amigos. Mira, güey, sí lo estás agarrando, mames. Sí. Se está moviendo. Sí. Vente. No mames, güey, mira, güey. No mames. Amigos, ¿cómo le hablamos a estos güeyes? No mames, ¿qué hacen? Ay, hijo de su puta madre. No mames, vete a la verga, güey.
it is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
What's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53E. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek? Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road? What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed light for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods.
The aerial school incident in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, is about as heavy as it gets. It was September 16, 1994. While the teachers were off having a faculty meeting, about 62 children, all between the ages of 6 and 12, were out on the playground for their morning break. What the children saw, according to the kids, several silver disc-shaped craft appeared in the sky and landed in a scrubby area just beyond the school fence. Odd movement. Witnesses said the beings moved in an unnatural way, almost like they were bouncing or running in slow motion, occasionally disappearing and reappearing in a different spot instantly. The telepathic message. This is the part that sticks with people. Many of the older children claimed they didn't hear a voice, but felt a message enter their minds. It was a warning about the state of the Earth, basically telling them that humans were destroying the planet with technology and that we needed to be careful. Why it's so famous. The reason this incident holds so much weight in the UAP community is the consistency. A Harvard psychiatrist named Dr. John Mack went down there to interview the kids. He was a man who didn't take things at face value, yet he concluded that the children weren't lying. They weren't just making up a tall tale for attention, they were genuinely terrified. Some were crying, thinking they were about to be taken. Even more interesting? Many of those children are adults now, and when they're interviewed today, their stories haven't changed. They still swear by what they saw that morning in the grass.
You can ask the flowers. I sit for hours, telling all the bluebirds.
Right, all right. I hope that everybody enjoyed the show. This is at Fearen Fear Files, and I want to say I'd like you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so that I can bring you some more of this good content. Alright, get back with me on the next show. And Fearen Fear Files signing out.